Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Sincere from the Standard 81 podcast, and I'm up here with you tonight for another discussion or monologue topic. I'm not sure what I'm going to title these things to tell you the truth, but I'm kind of excited about this one tonight because I think it's going to shed some light on something that a lot of people are talking about, which is roles. And not specifically gender roles, but yeah, we are going to touch on that. My whole thing, let me state this first off. My whole thing to give you a broad sense of topics, a broad sense of what everything means in its top in with these topics, so that you can take it back and look at it yourself and study it and do all these other things, because the whole idea here on this channel is to give you a foundational base in which you can start something on, and then from there continue on with that process. So let's get into tonight's topic. uh Tonight's topic is called Know Your Role. Now, if you've seen the thumbnail, of course, you've seen The Rock. But I'm going to go ahead and bring up my slides here. I'm back to my slides. I'm not freestyling this one tonight. I'm actually using my slides here tonight. So let's go ahead and bring these bad boys up. All right, so let me see. Knowing your role. All right, perfect. All right, so here it is. Everybody has a role in life. Something important that they need to fulfill. To know your role and know its proper perspective is something that is very essential to life, especially in the context of relationships and marriage. So that is the base in which we're going to be talking about roles, is within relationships and marriages. But in order to find out what role you play, you got to know what roles are. And I always like to define things when it comes to different topics. So let's go into the next slide. What are roles? Roles are defined as a character's assignment or an assumed function in a particular setting or process of order. All right, so that's what the Webster's Dictionary defines it as. Once again, let me read it one more time. It is defined as a character's assignment or assumed function performed especially in operations or processes. All right. So what can I say about that? Oftentimes, we want to say, oh, we're looking for our purpose. We're looking for our purpose. We're looking for our purpose. When honestly, I think we're just looking for our role. What role do we play? What is the part? What is the function that we play? The Bible says this, and I'll mention the Bible a lot because, once again, I am a Christian and that's the standard I live by. But the Bible says this: we are all a part of a body. And in the body, I'm talking about the regular human body. In a regular human body, there are specific parts. They play a specific role. They have a specific function. And I believe all of us in life have a role, have a function. But I think a lot of times, and I'm going to touch on this as we get more into this, we don't like the role that we have to play because we see it maybe as insignificant or not as big as the others, not knowing that if that piece is not in place, the body in and of itself is handicapped. And this really applies when it comes to relationships and marriages. Because if you don't have a defined role that is played in your relationship or in your marriage, you are bound to fail. Somebody does this, somebody does that, and it doesn't mean that every single time the same person does the same thing, but for the majority of the time, you know that this person is going to be in this particular position because that's what their function is. So let's keep this, which brings me into the next point. Why are roles important? In a system, in a unit, and in a body, there are roles, parts that each of us play, and each one is a different part of the system. Once again, the Bible says we all have the same God, but we all have a different part to play within his body. Let's check this out. We're all his bride, right? We're all a bride of Christ, right? As people. If you consider yourself a Christian, you consider yourself a bride. What is the purpose of a bride? Well, let's go back to the beginning. It says God made for Adam a helpmate. He said it's not right for him to be alone, so he made somebody in particular to help him in his day-to-day operation and in his functions. So us as people, we need to figure out what role we play for each other. In particular, I'm gonna just start with guys because I'm a guy. All right, I'm gonna start with the men because I'm a man. Right, the man typically tends to play the role of provider, protector, and head, right? Because that was the role that was given to us in the beginning. We in Genesis 3, God came to Adam first when everything went haywire, right? When sin finally came, Eve sinned. Why did God come to Adam first? You got to ask yourself that. Why did God come to Adam first and ask the question if it was Eve's sin that caused all the chaos? Because Adam was given the role of leadership. Irregardless of what happened, irregardless of what Eve did, Adam's responsibility was to lead and say, nah, I'm not with it. I'm not doing that. But because he yielded his leadership and his responsibility to another, he winded up passing the blame and the buck onto Eve, and she passed it, and so on and so forth. But our role as men are to lead and direct. Does this mean that we never take suggestions? Does this mean that we never fall back and play a more submissive role? No, that don't mean that at all. But what it does mean is the majority of the time, the responsibility of making decisions and making sure that things are in its proper order and making sure that things function well falls upon the man inside the relationship. Now, as far as women go, I can't give you a whole criteria breakdown because I'm not a woman, number one. But I can say this, as somebody that is a helpmate, the responsibility of them is to see what direction that the head is going and help them to get to that direction properly, which means they play just as important of a role as the person that's leading, because the person that's leading could be leading you in the wrong direction and they just need to be told, hey, you need to make that turn this way. This is why most things that involve high levels of stress or deep concentration, they have a co-pilot. For instance, airplanes, they have a pilot and a co-pilot, right? So this way, when one gets off course, one can tell the other, hey, You're off course, or you need to do this, or you need to do that. You need to get back in check. The whole purpose of the woman is, number one, see the vision and help us get there. Second, hold us accountable to what we said we have done. And third, make sure that the things that we are doing are in alignment, and you're making it as easy as possible for us to continue to move forward in that particular process. So, what are the differences between the roles? I think I kind of touched on that, but to expand on that more, I believe that, just to make it simple, just to make this simple, I believe that when you see the full breakdown of what you need to do, you can begin to further find your purpose. And when you find your purpose within your role, then you know why there are differences. What are those distinct differences? Well, one is there to facilitate, the other in guiding, and one is there to actually guide, right? Those are the distinct differences when it comes to relationships. One is there to guide, and then one is there to actually make sure that the place that they're guiding to them is actually on course. We're not veering off course here. So, I believe oftentimes, next slide, I believe oftentimes what tends to happen with us, what tends to happen with us is that we forget that part of our purpose here in life is not only just making money or obtaining things. There's a specific thing we need to do. And oftentimes we don't like the things that we do because it seems insignificant, right? Until your actual role or the thing that you were purposed to put on this life for is actually needed, and then you see the significance in it. A lot of us want the spotlight when some of us are not meant to have the spotlight. Because check this out, if all of us were meant to have the spotlight, everything would be the same, and that to me is a problem. We all want our relationships and marriages to look the same. They're going to look different. In life, things are going to look different. Though we all go through similar problems and similar situations, things are going to look different for each person. And your job is to find out what your role is in that specific system, in that particular relationship. How do you better help define that person? How do you better help define that man? How do you better uplift that woman? That is the purpose of this all. The roles are not meant to divide. The roles are meant to bring together so that once again you can put yourself into right balance and live with each other with a cohesive understanding that you're going somewhere. Think about it like this. When you get around a ton of people that think like you, walk like you, talk like you, right, with no distinctive differences whatsoever, at first it's fun, right? But then all of a sudden, it gets old, it gets boring, it gets dull. And then when you're messing up or when If everybody is messing up because they all think like you, how do you know when you're going the right way? How do you know when it's time to do something different? When everybody's telling you it's fine, everybody thinks just like you, everybody walks like you, everybody talks like you. Roles, while they are meant to be distinctive and different for a reason, they are meant to define our purpose. And I will say that again. Roles are meant to define our purpose. Not to put us in a place where we're confused and wondering what to do. And I believe if you start discovering that early, what your role is, it helps out a lot in life, but specifically in your marriages and in your relationships. Because here's the thing, I think a lot of us are looking for people to fulfill a role they may not be suited for. This is why marriages don't work out. This is why relationships fall apart. You select a person who their role is not quite what you need. The purpose of that person is doesn't stand in succinctness with you. And it shouldn't be this great big thing of trial and error all the time, of us trying to find out whether or not this person is right for us or wrong for us, or whatever the case may be. It should be as simple as, here's my role, I know what I'm doing, and then from there you see who differs from you, so that you can put them into place, and they can, in the process of you developing and growing, can continue. Shouldn't be a slowdown. But I'm gonna tell you this: to know your role takes time. To know your role is a process. To know your role is something that you're genuinely going to have to search out and seek. Because just like anything else in life, it's not going to be easy to find. It's not going to be easily defined either. We can know in general, but to know specifically what role you play in your relationship, in life, is going to be on you. And the only way you're going to find that out is to study, dig, and really put in the time to develop yourself. And let me say this, I'm not saying you need to be perfect going into your relationships with other people, but you should have a clear idea of what it is not only you're looking for, but what it is you bring to a person. Because in knowing that, two things happen. Number one, you know exactly what you're looking for, and two, you can prevent a lot of problems. You can prevent a lot of heartache. You can prevent a lot of messy breakups and all this other stuff, because now your role is defined. Now you know what your purpose is. Now you know where you're headed. Now you know what your goal is. And stop looking to play the role of everybody else, or stop looking to compete with everybody else. Be satisfied with the role that you have. And know that, hey, even within that role, your role can switch. It may not always be the same thing. It may switch from time to time. You may have to do something and play a different role for a moment and then come back to the role that you were normally meant to play. But doesn't mean that you change roles completely. It just means that, hey, sometimes you got to step in and do something else. So with that, I think I'm going to wrap it up. I didn't want to, like I always say, I like to touch very lightly on these things. And while I could go into a deeper dive, I want you guys to let me know in the comments, down in the comments, if you want me to go into a deeper dive on roles and how they the specifics, gender roles, and all that good stuff. But I think this is a broad spectrum of what roles mean and how they differentiate and why you need them, which is the question that I wanted to answer. Why it was needed? What's the differences, and why are they so important nowadays? Because they help us to find our purpose. And the more you can find a purpose, the more successful you can be in your relationships and in your marriage. Because now you're not sitting there asking yourself, so what's next? You've already charted a course and you're pushing ahead. So that's it. Please like, share, and subscribe. Leave comments down below if you're watching this afterwards. Just put down there second watch. And then check out that Instagram page, Sincere the Artist. You'll see Let's Talk About It. I think I'm on episode 16 or 18. Got something brand new coming, one-on-ones with Sincere. That's going to be dope. My first person is going to be Frank Rose. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be this Monday. And just stay tuned for more videos and more explanations on things in life. And I hope to see you guys again next Friday for another little reaction discussion deal. All right. My name is Sincere. Grace and peace to you all. I'm out.